In Formula One history, there have always been discrepancies between drivers in teams, especially those at the top of the grid. Such examples include Rubens Barrichello at Ferrari, who was undoubtedly Michael Schumacher's right-hand man in his early 2000s domination. It was the same case for Lewis Hamilton and his teammate Valtteri Bottas in the late 2010s. They're more of a recent concept, because when the likes of Jim Clark, Juan Manuel Fangio and Jackie Stewart were racing, any drivers in the same machinery either didn't do the full season's races or they were just uncompetitive, or the team had two number one drivers in the team. However, there was one driver who fit into both of these criteria, and not in a way that he would have wanted. Let me tell you the story of Dave Walker, the worst number 2 driver in Formula One history. Dave Walker was born in Sydney, Australia on the 10th of June 1941. He started car racing in 1963 and drove in several local Australian series and the Tasman series. He came into prominence, however, in the late 1960s by winning the Formula Ford 1600 series in 1969. He then won the British Formula 3 Championship twice, in 70 and 71, winning 25 out of 32 races in the latter year, moving up to Formula 1 before season's end. He only entered a singular race in 1971, however, the Dutch Grand Prix, driving the Lotus 56B that was powered by a Pratt & Whitney gas turbine engine. Walker qualified in 22nd, the anti-penultimate position, that's third from last, then retired during the race because of an accident. After an uneventful 1971 campaign, Walker stayed at Lotus for 1972, partnering Grand Prix winner and future world champion Emerson Fittipaldi driving the Lotus 72D. At the opening round in Argentina, Fittipaldi qualified 5th, meanwhile his Australian teammate was 20th out of 22 cars. Walker was disqualified on lap 8 for receiving outside assistance. Presumably, this meant that he spun out and stalled the car, then got a push, which is obviously illegal. South Africa was better as Walker qualified 19th, then finished his first race in his career in 10th, after running out of fuel while chasing 6th place Graham Hill's Brabham. Bear in mind, points were only awarded to the top 6 drivers in 1972, so he didn't score in this race for getting 10th place. It was 24th in Jarama qualifying, then in the race he was contesting Peter Revson for 5th. He eventually finished 9th in that race, although he did run out of fuel with 3 laps left. He qualified in a so-far season high of 14th place in Monaco, then finished in the same position in the race. He then qualified 12th in Nivelles Borlas and finished 14th. The team then started to shift their attention over to his teammate Emerson's title campaign, focusing less on Walker's entry. This led to a bad result at the French Grand Prix at Charade, where Walker plummeted down the order, qualifying in 25th and finishing 18th, 4 laps down with half-shaft failure. Walker qualified 15th in Brands Hatch, then retired on lap 59 with suspension failure. Then at the German Grand Prix on the Nürburgring Nordschleife, Walker qualified 23rd, 20 seconds off his teammate Emerson Fittipaldi in 3rd. Then he got his second retirement in a row during the race. An oil leak on lap 4 forced him to retire. Then he got his 3rd retirement of 3 races at the Österreichring after qualifying 19th. An oil leak forced him out on lap 6. Then, Walker missed the Monza and Mosport rounds because Colin Chapman and team manager Peter Waugh didn't like the fact that the Australian had tested for another team, but they brought him back for the last race of the season at Watkins Glen. The American race saw Walker qualify with a season worst 31st place, and he had to retire late on with an engine failure. And that was it for Walker's full-time Formula One career. He entered 2 races for Mackie in the 1975 season, but withdrew from both of them due to a long-term injury sustained in a racing accident. He is the only full-time driver in F1 history to score 0 points in the same year his teammate won the Drivers' Championship. Obviously, Emerson won it in 1972. Admittedly, you could say his circumstances didn't help. Also, he retired from 2 point scoring positions early in the season, so had he scored those points then, he may have been focused on more. Overall, I don't really think Dave Walker was that bad in Formula One. Yes, he failed to score points in a championship-winning car, but at the same time, the car doesn't mean shit if you're not supported by your own team. Labelling him as the quote-unquote worst is harsh, but there aren't many worse records than his. Anyways, with that being said, that's the end of this slightly shortened video. I hope you all enjoyed my delve into the worst number 2 driver in F1 history. I'll see you all next week for another video. Also, please follow my Instagram and subscribe to my Patreon. Links are in the description, as that really helps me out. I'll see you all later. And for now, bye!